So hey, we are here today with Bob and Dang from Bob and Dang's Journey, and they are world travelers. They go all over the place in their RV. They are working now on finishing up a series that they did traveling all the way to Alaska from Southern California, and we've been following along. We've been subscribers of their channel for a really long time. We love their work, and I knew that we were going to be here together, and Bob is a sourdough bread expert, and he said, hey, since we're going to be at the Grand Design Quartzsite Rally all together, why don't we do an experiment? And so
absolutely, we've been longtime subscribers to Kim's channel and really appreciate her expertise with the Dutch ovens and all the wonderful food that she's got there. So yeah, when we found out we were both going to be here, we started talking. This was a few months ago, and really planning what we would do in terms of a kind of a challenge. This is a little bit more than your lightweight, just hey, let's go bake some bread in the desert. There's a little planning involved here, but it's going to be fun. We've got two different setups going on here. Kim can talk about those probably.
yes. Yeah, so Bob is the sourdough bread expert, right? I've already said that. And so here's the proof. I've never done sourdough bread ever, at home, at the campsite, ever. So we're relying on Bob's expertise to get us rolling. So he did all of his starter, and he's got the dough already made, and it rose, and I don't know, whatever all the magic you did with all of that. But we're over here to cook. And so we are going to be heating up both Dutch ovens. We're using two 10-inch Dutch ovens. They both are going to get the same bread dough, and one is going into campfire coals, and the other one is going to be going on a propane stove using a heat diffuser plate and a dome. And I have made a video on how to use that thing before. I'll leave a link in the description below. But this is something that I've never done. So we're actually really excited to try this experiment. If it turns out burnt, we'll laugh. If it turns out raw, we'll laugh. If it turns out halfway decent, we're going to go get some bread, slap it on, and eat it.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We are ready to bake.
We are. I think the coals are getting close there.
The coal's getting cold.
Yes. And Dang is going to be doing a lot of video, and Pete is going to be doing the other video. They like to stay behind the camera, and so it's up to Bob and I to do the cooking today.
Master.
Good luck, you guys.
We'll see. Yeah. We've got old school and new tech, so we'll see how it works.
We hope both of them win.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Let's get going.
Let's bake.
Cool.
All right, so here we are. We got our stove going. I'm going to throw this heat diffuser plate on here, put the Dutch oven on top, and we are looking for a 450 degree start, and then we'll put the bread dough in there after the oven is completely heated up. I'm going to push this thing down, and it's a little bit breezy today, but I think that the breeze where it's coming from is going to be blocked enough by the dome that we're not going to have too much trouble maintaining heat. So we're going to let this heat up, and then Bob is going to use this different Dutch oven that actually has this wire bail handle, because these are so much easier to get in and out of the campfire. And also it's got this hook on the lids, but it's got both of these handles. Once these things are preheated, then we're going to throw the dough into them, and we are going to be using these parchment paper liners inside the Dutch oven so that we can bake right in there and then lift out for them to cool on the rack. And Bob did a great job in getting all of this dough ready. So as soon as we are ready, the Dutch ovens are heated enough, we're going to invert the dough onto the parchment paper. We're going to score it with a knife, and then we're going to drop it into the oven. So those are our upcoming steps. We'll see how it works. So we don't have a really big fire ring here, and we probably should have something a little bit larger so it's easier to work with. But Bob's taking all of those coals that are from the bottom, and he's making sure that he's getting heat all the way around the oven. And we don't have enough room to keep another set of logs going, so that we kind of have a little assembly line to get the next batch of coals going. after we're preheated, we should only be baking for, we're thinking probably about a half an hour maybe, give or take a little bit. So it's not like it's a really long cook time, but we definitely need to make sure that we've got enough coals and enough heat. We want to start at 450, and then we want to try to reduce down to about 400, but that's going to be really difficult to try to maintain that very specific high temperature, so we're just going to wing it a little bit. What we want to really make sure of at this point is that it doesn't burn. Once our bottom burns, we're kind of messed up, but we've got plenty of grace, if you will, if we kind of go a slow cook on the bottom and do more heat from the sides and the top. That's what's going to help us to make sure that we get a nice finished piece that's cooked all the way through without burning the bottom.
Well, I like that we have the feet on the bottom of the Dutch oven.
Yes.
Lifted up a little bit, and we did move some of the coals out from underneath.
Absolutely. And that is one of the biggest differences between a Dutch oven that you use in your home in an oven or in a campfire situation. So the Dutch oven that I'm using on the camp stove right now is actually Bob's Dutch oven from home. It has no legs on the bottom, and it doesn't have that wire handle. He's using my Dutch oven in the campfire, which does have legs at the bottom, and there's a very specific reason, so that you're lifting the bottom of the oven off of the coals, so that they're not sitting directly on the coals, versus when you're actually using an oven, a Dutch oven that doesn't have legs, and you're putting that in an oven at home. You've got a burner that's way down at the bottom of the oven, and the pot itself is actually sitting on a grate, so it doesn't have that danger of being like immediately above that flame that is causing something to burn. So that's why we swapped ovens today, and hopefully we're both going to come up with a really good product at the end.
Well, we can take these out now. At this point, it's not going to hurt it for it to be out.
Okay. It's a beautiful thing. Wow.
So these look like they're proofed pretty well to me. What you can do is you can just kind of push down a little bit, and what you want to see is that it stays down, maybe with a slight spring back.
Okay.
If you push down and it sort of starts to collapse and doesn't have any real resistance, then you're probably overproofed.
Okay.
And if that happens, it's not always the end of the world. You can still cook and sometimes make a great loaf of bread, but the optimal loaf will be when they're proofed just right.
So what would happen if we don't get this baking pretty soon?
We probably have with this one, I'd say it's on the early side of being just perfectly proofed.
Okay.
So we probably have a good half hour.
Oh, good.
Here.
So we got a little leeway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you're doing these at home, you can also get them going, and you can slow proof them in the refrigerator.
Okay.
And you can leave them there for quite some time and then just pop them out like an hour or maybe 2 hours before you're going to cook.
Okay.
And so that gives you more flexibility in terms of timing. They won't overproof very quickly in the fridge.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a science. It's a science.
It is. I have this book. I got it I don't know why I got it. It was just sort of as a gag, but it's there's a chemistry PhD, a lady who got her PhD in chemistry and was all set to, enter industry, and decided she likes baking instead.
Oh, wow.
And so she wrote a book about baking.
Yeah.
And it is insanely, she gets down to the molecular scale. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who actually could read that and understand it except for a chemist, but it's
Right.
fun to read every once in a while.
You know what? That is what baking is all about. And that's why there's not a lot of good bakers. There's a lot of people who like to cook, but not a lot of people that like to bake, because you have to be really precise about things.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch any of Alton Brown's stuff?
Yeah.
He's amazing when he talks about the molecules and
Right.
what they're doing and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Then you understand why something flops or fails or, or works.
Yeah.
So, this is a fun experiment. I'm glad we're doing it.
Yep. Should be great.
I'm gonna go grab my soda.
So these are called vanitons. Vanitons, probably the French say it a little bit differently, but it's this woven reed basket. And I put a lot of flour in this because I don't like it to stick, but I probably didn't put enough.
Okay.
Never seem to. So we're just gonna flip it over, trying to get it somewhat in the center. Sort of shake it a little bit. It might stick a little, but it's okay.
That is beautiful.
And then we're gonna cut some, I'm just gonna do crisscrosses on this.
Okay.
Here and here. One more here. One more there. Some people do like little lighter ones there. We can do that. It gives it like room for expansion there.
Beautiful.
And now we're ready to drop that in.
Okay, so I need to open up this oven, take this lid off, and
Look at that, looking good. All right, goes right there.
all right, and so for this, we want
Let it
to,
roll it out like
yep,
that.
just kind of pull them off over the side, cover that up, and we're gonna put the lid on. Now what this dome does is, well, the diffuser plate takes that heat that's in the burner, instead of having it be centralized, it's gonna make it go all the way along the bottom of the plate and then up the sides of the oven. This dome is what's going to divert all of that heat on top of the oven. So we're trying to get nice even heat all the way around and not one big hot spot. We're gonna try to do the same thing now with Bob's campfire situation over here.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not too windy.
Yeah.
These are beautiful bowls.
Okay.
I can already smell the meat I'm burning over here.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it might be the parchment too, right?
I'm gonna turn this down and make sure that I'm not burning that bottom too fast. Yeah.
That'll work.
All right, we got too much
Get
heat.
back on there.
Well, throw it on there. Just smother it.
Yeah,
Just go.
it'll be okay. It'll have a wood-fired
Yeah.
flavor.
There we go. You think that we
You know
need
what I
to
would
get
do?
that out of there for
I
a
would
little
take
bit?
it out for a little bit and let everything
Yeah, sure.
stabilize.
I'm thinking we might be a little bit too hot.
Yeah.
Let's give it a second. The way that this is looking, can I open this up?
I'm sure if you want.
I think we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
Yeah.
So we've got a, the dough is risen, is so high already that we're having a hard time with a standard, and this is, our parchment is burning in there.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out what we're gonna do right now.
I mean, it looks like it's done.
I think it's probably going to be okay. No, it's going to have to cook more for sure.
Yeah, I know.
It looks done to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we put that into an.
Okay, well, we may still be able to just cut the whole bottom off of this.
Let's try that.
We can just.
Try. This is going to
Yeah.
be a challenge, but we can try.
I have a bread knife if you want a bread knife.
That's cut through it pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
See, it's not cooked on the inside.
Oh, it's
Right.
definitely not cooked on the inside. A microwave couldn't have cooked it that fast. No, the inside's still cold. No.
So it'll look a little bit weird. This is definitely going to be one of the weirder loaves that I've ever done, but let's try that.
Cooking,
Yeah, it's still hot.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going back on with the lid right
Yeah, one
now.
on the lid and just
Okay.
throw a couple on the top.
And you want me to leave it out of the
I would
fire?
leave it out of the fire for 5 minutes, and then I would put it a couple lit things. I put it back in.
That's a good plan. All right, well, so we learned.
Well, but see, we're gonna run out of coals here too, so.
You won't. Trust me. What you got going there, throw those 3 logs in the middle. They'll regenerate what you got going on. And
My hand is
Everything will
burning. It's my
There it
hot
is.
pad. All right.
Hey, that's looking good.
yeah, that looks.
I don't think you got any problem there. I don't even think
Can we
the bottom of
can
it-
we lift up?
Oh, that's right.
It's a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay.
I can pull this out then, since it's already.
Yeah, because it's not doing anything.
Yeah. So far we're okay over here?
Let's lift it up and see what the bottom looks like.
Okay. Don't.
Yeah, it's okay.
We're burned here
yeah,
too.
But we'll just cut the it's
No
fine.
big deal, but
It's going to be all right.
Cooking time
Yep.
to get that center.
So you think we're okay to leave this on a really low
Yeah,
heat?
I think low will be.
Yeah.
Okay, because we just panicked and turned it off.
Yep.
So we're gonna turn it back on. Not for bad reason, because there was something to panic about.
Pig panic. I like it.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it low because we know it's already hot. Right, it's already like that pot is already like totally like
It looks stinking good, man.
It does.
The
Looks
top
great.
and
It
there's just
does.
a little burn on the bottom, but
Yeah.
that's going to be fine.
All right, so now we are both without parchment paper and we are both with burned bottoms. I love experiments.
The second time would be a lot better.
Yes, yeah,
that's
we're
what you
gonna
have to
we're
do.
gonna learn through all of this, and we're gonna get better the next time we do this.
Next Grand Design Rally, maybe we'll do version 2.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? By then we might actually forget what we learned today, so we might need to do it a little bit sooner.
We got it on video.
Don't cut any of the video out.
And I want to make sure everybody knows that I did predict that we were going to have these cameras when everybody. Did you hear Bob? Bob just said.
Yeah, we all heard it. I'm gonna take it out of here,
Put it on the cooling
and I am
rack.
gonna put it on the cooling rack. So
Why don't we grab-
Here, I'll bring the cooling rack to you. So there's. Is it off? Oh.
Sorry,
well.
I got it.
thing?
That's
You missed
okay.
the whole thing?
That whole thing I did.
You're kidding me.
No.
Here,
Getting it
let's
out?
turn
You
this.
missed it?
I got it.
So at least get it over to the right.
Yeah. There we go.
Looks better that way. Ooh.
All right, so now we're gonna look at this other one, right?
Yeah.
And
Top's looking pretty good there.
yeah.
It's a little soft. The top isn't as crunchy as you'd ideally like, but I think that's probably just how it's going to be in this setup. I think it's still going to be really good.
Okay, so you think it's done?
I think it is done.
Is there anything we should test to check?
You know,
or
if you
just take it out?
have an instant read thermometer, you can actually check and see if
I
it's
do,
like
so-
about 190 or so in there. 185, 190,
Let
I
me go
think is a
grab
good
I need to
temperature.
chop my drone.
And then so it was less than if you were going to do it yourself.
Right.
I got a probe. I don't. It's not an instant read, but it is
Yeah,
a probe.
that'll be okay. Yeah, I just try to get it right in the middle there. And if we're at if we're above 185, I think we're in good shape.
72 degrees. No, I'm kidding.
I got it in the center.
I can't read it.
That's about 218.
Oh, well, it's done. Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't tell because when I'm doing this at home, this is pulled off,
Right.
you know, and this gets more,
Yeah.
it gets more like this. Well, maybe not quite that much, but yeah,
Right.
somewhere in
It
between
definitely
those two.
looks like it should be harder.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
right,
let's,
so-
we can just put that right here to cool. And it should cool for, you know, ideally it's like 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
That definitely is a better looking loaf of bread.
That's kind of pretty. Even though the bottom's a little dark.
Yeah. We just won't eat that part.
That's right.
No, you're gonna eat it.
Okay. Oh, you're going to save it all and make me eat that part while you guys eat the rest?
Bob, you're going to get the best piece of the whole whichever loaf.
So we can
Side by
wrap up
side.
and say, well, it seems like the controlled environment has a little bit of an edge in this one.
That's perfect. So, Bob, you did a great job today in managing all of this because this was a really good experiment.
It was indeed an experiment.
Yes.
Not having ever cooked on a fire before, obviously there were a few learning points to be had here, and I think we get together next quartzite rally, and we'll probably do a lot better on this. But the controlled system worked pretty well.
I think they both look like they're good and interesting. I think we're going to find some really good stuff in the center of this after we cut off some of that burnt crust. But we're going to try them both. We'll do a taste test side by side. We definitely learned a lot, and we know that we've got a plan for the next time to make this like absolutely perfect. But our plan might still be wrong. So if you know better than us, please, Bob.
Absolutely.
We
Leave
need
some
help.
comments. Let us know.
Leave comments below. Let us know.
We are not too proud.
We are not proud at all.
Obviously.
We're gonna let it cool. We're gonna slice it. We're gonna put a little bit of butter on it. We're gonna do a taste test, and then we will try it again and see if we can improve the next time.
So we can do the this well done classic version first, and we'll see if there's something to salvage inside there.
Okay.
Let's just go right down the middle here.
Ouch. Split it slowly.
That looks stinking good.
That
The bread
actually
itself
looks
isn't bad.
beautiful. Oh my goodness, look at that.
That's beautiful.
And you cut off the bottom when
Yeah,
we
this one
first had our little, explosion.
It was quite hot.
It was. So that's number one. Do you want to cut apart number two,
Yeah,
and we
let's
can
do that.
compare the two different loaves? Let me get some of these
Yeah,
crumbs off of here. Throw them in the garbage real fast. All right, go for it. Hopefully this one's done on the inside.
I think it is.
So it's definitely not as crispy as you're used to when you do it in the oven at home, right?
Yeah, because you kind of expose the top to the oven, but this looks good. It looks like it's got a good crumb to it.
Yeah.
And
A
we
little bit
definitely
hot
need
on
to.
the bottom, but
Yeah,
that's
we
okay.
gotta
don't
we
need
gotta cut
part.
that bottom off.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Very good.
All right, we'll do
Let's
a couple
try
of.
some.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll just
A
slice.
little bit of each.
Yeah, we'll just do.
Where's that butter?
I am getting the butter. I am getting the plates.
So what we will do is
I didn't get big enough plates.
I was going to cut them in half.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll cut like each one in quarters. So we'll each have a little bit of each to try.
So we're just gonna get rid of that stuff.
I'm going to do it.
I'll take the smallest piece.
I'll take the biggest.
All right, Bob.
I don't agree.
Butter
with
them
it.
up.
It makes sense.
Thank you. You're doing a fabulous job. All in all, this has been a really fun experiment.
I mean, a little
It has been definitely some learning.
big learning curve.
It's definitely a learning curve. Which one are you trying first? I'm trying the same thing.
This is the classic.
The classic.
If it's not good, Bob, lie. Just lie.
No, I think it's good.
I think it is too.
It's a light sourdough. It's not
Yeah.
a real bitey sourdough.
Now your turn.
There's a little bit of whole wheat in this. It's about 10% whole wheat or so, maybe 15.
I want to try the crust, but it's a little bit too dark. I'm going to try it anyway. Even as burnt as that is,
I'm digging it.
it's still good.
Is it sour
Yeah,
or
it's
no?
not. It's sourdough. It's all
little
leavened.
bit?
This is leavened entirely, but it's sourdough. There's no traditional yeast in this.
Wow, really?
Honestly, it's shockingly good. For having fires and explosions, this is amazing.
A lot of times, I think people that are new to breaking bread don't bake it enough. They're afraid to get it too dark. Like technically, this should be darker.
Darker.
This is too much, but the lighter parts of this are about what you're going to be looking for. This is
So we
clearly
want
too
something
dark.
more like
Yeah,
this
exactly.
all the way around.
Yeah, that.
This is too light. It makes sense.
Yeah, but it's still good. It's not bad, but it doesn't have the perfect crust.
Right.
Yours has legs on it,
Yes.
and that would have that diffuser would have worked much more effectively.
Yeah,
with the
Right.
legs.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what? That's a really good point because that is what these are made for.
Yeah.
So maybe if we would have, that would have been a really
Yeah.
great combination
Yeah.
where we could have gone a little bit lower in temperature, a little bit longer,
Right.
had those legs so we had some buffer on that bottom, not burned it, but still gotten a nice
Right.
crispier crust than what we got,
Yeah.
what we ended up
'Cause
with.
that wasn't diffusing as much. There was a
Right.
lot of direct convection.
Yes,
straight
Right.
through there.
absolutely. I didn't
You're-
realize that. I forgot they didn't have legs.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
forgot that too.
Get cutting. What's going on here?
We
Get
need,
behind here.
so it can't be too bad because Pete wants to eat a whole loaf of bread.
Ready?
You want more?
Yeah, I want more.
Which side? Which one
It
do you
doesn't
want?
even matter.
He'll eat them both.
Get this and out real quick.
Okay, yeah.
So what we will say from Quartzsite is that the experiment was fun. It was actually way more delicious than we ever anticipated. We're going to try it again with all the knowledge that we have. And right now we're going to finish a little bit more bread and then we're going to head over to the big bonfire for our last night and at the campsite. And then tomorrow we've got a couple of events. We're going to be going to services right after the event is over, and then we're going to be taking off out of town, and we'll catch up again later. So Bob and Dang, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Can't wait to see you again, and we had a really good time. This is a fun trip.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
See you soon.
Fun time.
Bye.